Well, hello everyone, and welcome back. So glad you tuned in today. We're going to have a great video for you, especially if you like Depeche Mode. I'm going to do a deep dive in Depeche Mode today. Going to show, guess every Depeche Mode record I have right now. And again, I made a fresh pot of coffee. So I need a little caffeine. It's my first cup of the day. Only got a little bit in there. So from A Broken Frame, which I don't have that record, but Leave in Silence, I thought was a fantastic song off that album. So I've got the single, and it's on a beautiful textured cover, and it is a UK pressing, which I think about 99% of all those are UK. Well, there's a few Germans in there, and I think one USA press, one or two. And this is on a, I like to show the labels because these are different. This is not something you normally see. A Broken Frame, and we've got further excerpts from My Secret Garden, Leave in Silence. And of course it's a 12-inch, it's 45 RPM, and it's got a 2 or 3 songs on it. Usually they'll have a remix, a more dancey version, or a lot more effects. They'll get certain folks that are known for remixing, and they'll have their versions on here of the record. Next up, Construction Time Again. And I just listened to this the other day again. This is a UK pressing. And when I originally bought these, I bought them in Canada, and they were on the Sire label, but out of the UK, they're on it's a different label. Mute. Out of the UK. And it says Mute and Stum. Stum is usually from Germany. And these records sound really, really good, being UK pressings. And it does come with they all come with basically some kind of inner sleeve, which you don't use, of course. Here's the inner sleeve from this record. Construction Time Again. Yeah, this is one of my favorite Depeche Mode records. I listened to it a lot back in the day because we only had a few Depeche Mode records. I only had 2 or 3. And man, I listened to this so much, and it is so good. It has got so many great songs on it. Lovin' Itself, Pipeline, Everything Counts, 2 Minute Warning, Told You So. I mean, those are great songs on this record. Fantastic stuff. And then from this record, they put out some 12-inch records. So I lined them up after, and here's Everything Counts in large amounts. This is the 12-inch from that record. And the label, kind of nondescript, but it is a nice UK pressing. Sounds fantastic, of course, being UK. And it's on a really nice, kind of a mild textured, kind of not parchment, but it's got a different kind of paper on the front. It's really, really high quality, really nice. And then we have Some Great Reward. This is another UK pressing that I got in Atlanta years and years ago. When I was passing through, I stopped at a record store there, and I got all these UK Depeche Mode records. And again, the insert. Now, the little story about this record, which again is a really good record, if I can read the stuff on here. Master and Servants on here, if you want. Blasphemous Rumors. Stories of Old. It's hard to read that blue writing on the record for me, on that black background. Again, it's not a lot of contrast. And so the story with this record, it came out in 84, okay? And it's probably around 85. And I'm at Advance Hi-Fi, the big hi-fi store in Winnipeg. I'm down there looking at some gear. And on the way out, I see a guy up against the wall just as you're going out the main door. And he's fumbling around with his Walkman, his headphones. And of course, he's got them kind of off and on, and I can hear the music playing. And I'm like, whoa, what is that? So I excused myself and I asked him, I said, hey, can I ask you a question? What music is that? He says, it's Depeche Mode. I go, what? It's Depeche Mode. He looked at me like, you Depeche Mode, you idiot. Don't you need to know what Depeche Mode is? Or whatever, He was nice. And so I told him, I said, that's the sound I've been looking for. I need that in my life. I'm going to go out right now and buy some Depeche Mode. So that's what started the journey, was this record. And then, of course, Construction Time was already out, and I bought that. And so off of Depeche Mode, Some Great Reward. I don't have any singles off that record. And then I think at the same time, because this is very, very around the same time, this is probably 86 or something, Black Celebration comes out. And again, this is a nice UK pressing. I throw the label because they're different. Because we're just used to that Sire label here, right? And of course, these are, I've had these for up to umpteen years, so I still got the Last sticker on there. I haven't used Last since the 80s, right? That's when I was using Last, in the later 80s. And so that's how old the records are. Of course, they're, bottom new. But then this is a really good record as well. Black Celebration, Fly on the Windscreen. That is such a great song. A Question of Lust. A Question of Time. Stripped. World Full of Nothing, Dressed in Black, and New Dress. Man, Depeche Mode is one of those bands. They don't make a bad record, really, and they don't hardly put out bad songs on the albums. Now, they do have a couple of records that I won't have here that, for whatever reason, I didn't like the albums. Only a couple. And one or two at the beginning, which I probably need to revisit. I haven't ever listened to them for probably 30 years, so I don't even know what they sound like anymore. And there's one in the middle that I didn't like. But that is Depeche Mode, Black Celebration. And off of that record comes A Fly in the Windscreen and It's Cold Heart. And this is a German 12-inch, and you can see by the German sticker on the bottom. And this was, I probably think, one of my first 12-inch records that I ever got. And it was so pretty. Back in the 80s, if you could get a record like this, that was really nice. Nice translucent blue on that mute stum, and you can see where it says Gemma on the side, right? So that's a German pressing. And this is 45 RPM. And this, literally, the 45 RPM and the fidelity on this, it blew my socks off. This is when I realized how great a 12-inch record was at 45 RPM. Because I say this is one of the first 12 singles I ever bought was this record. Wow. And once I got this, I said, I need more of that, because that sound is so spectacular on those 45 12-inches. I don't know if I ever found one this good again, but I tell you what, fantastic. And good music. And again, off that same album, we have Stripped, the Highland mix on Bong. See what and there's just pretty well a generic looking label. Stripped. So this is the Highland mix. This is a 5-track, 25-minute single. Stripped, but not tonight, extended remix. Breathing in Fumes, Fly in the Windscreen again on this, but it's the quiet mix. And Black Days on here. 1986 Mute Records, London. And their next album that came out, one of my favorites again, Music for the Masses. And this is a UK press. This is a really nice textured cover with a nice glossy little photo in the middle. Beautifully made cover. And then on the inside, you have the nice big thick inner sleeve. Nice picture on it. And now for the first time we see where they're getting away from just using the record label and they're putting their own touch to it. And on the other side is the song titles. And of course we have the last sticker on there because it is late 80s. And I found that using that last, it was supposed to be a preservative. It was supposed to stabilize the vinyl and make the records last longer. But I found it actually cleaned the record. That whatever they had in there, kind of like Turgiclean a little bit. It really was able to, I think, remove some of that film off the record. Because after I put that last on there and I cleaned it with the last, the record sounded better. So I like putting that stuff on my records. You only, one application was all you ever needed to do. Mute documentary evidence. A little brochure comes in this record. Kind of a nice little book. I don't know. I don't remember seeing this before. Of course, I don't need to take this stuff out when I play the record. Mute singles. Look at all that stuff. All the singles that they've got listed. And then they've got mute albums on this side. So that'd be interesting read. So this is Music for the Masses. This has got a few of my all-time favorite Depeche Mode songs on it. And of course, if they're my all-time favorite Depeche Mode records, and I'm already into that fantastic singles stuff, we're going to have a few of them on here. The first one up is Never Let Me Down Again. And this is Sire. So this must be a domestic Canadian pressing or something. Let me look. Doesn't say. But I imagine it's a domestic pressing. Sire Records. So small, but it says New York on it. Okay, so U.S. pressing. Top loader. Kind of cool. Put that back in there. Never Let Me Down Again. Yeah, that is a really good tune from Depeche Mode off their album Music for the Masses. And then we have Never Let Me Down Again, T. Sangardian's mix. This is another one, a different mix of the same song. But this is a UK press now. And it has a pretty cool label on it. Really cool. Both sides are pretty neat. They're different. See if I can get it up for you. Very nice. Very pretty. So now I have the same song, but now I have a little bit of a different mix, but it's a UK press. Limited edition, it says on here. Of course, all these 12 inches are limited editions. Bong. get her back in there. And then another bong. Now we're getting into Behind the Wheel. Yeah, that's one of my favorite songs. This is the Beatmasters mix. This is a UK press, as you can see by the front. It's got a little sticker on there. And it's got the Beatmaster mix, and it's got Route 66 Casualty mix. So it's a 45 RPM. One song per side. Depeche Mode. Which side is this? This is, it doesn't say. If it does, it doesn't say on there. It's probably side A. And then here's side B, I guess. So just the Casualty mixes on this side. So again, a nice UK press, 45 RPM, beautiful sound on this record. Comes in a nice cover, but you know, it's the UK, it's kind of thin, but it does have a bit of a texture to it. It's just not a plain, it's got a really nice high quality paper with a texture on it, so that's nice. And then again, Little 15 off the same album. This is a maxi single at 45 RPM, Little 15 on mute. See what that looks like on the inside. This is another German press on mute, Stum. Nice German pressing. And now this one has kind of got the shiny surface on it, a little gloss to it. I think that's the first one so far, and that's a German pressing. I think that other German pressing too had a gloss to it. I think it did, yeah. And now we're back to Behind the Wheel again. This is Behind the Wheel Mega Mix. We have Behind the Wheel Route 66 Mega Mix, Behind the Wheel Route 66 Mega Dub, Behind the Wheel Extended Remix, Behind the Wheel Beatmaster Mix. And this looks like a Sire and a mute. So it's probably a US pressing. Yeah, US press on the Sire label. So I got the US press, but where's that UK press? Oh, here it is. Here's the UK press. Now this has Behind the Wheel by Shep Pettibone, Route 66 remixed by the Beatmasters, which would be the Beatmaster mix, of course. And this is for 1987, the UK. Beautiful, kind of a light texture on that cover. Beautiful, high quality cardstock on here. And again, we have an interesting label on there. Next up, the next one in line is, of course, Violator. This is probably one of their best known records because it's one of their best records. I have listened to this thing as much as I've listened to any record in my record collection. Right? We got World in My Eyes, Sweetest Perfection, Personal Jesus, Halo, Waiting for the Night, Enjoy the Silence, Policy of Truth, Blue Dress, and Clean. 1990 this record came out. And this record showed the 90s what they need to do because this was such a phenomenal record. This is a UK pressing. Comes with a nice big thick inner sleeve. And the label, of course, isn't nothing to write home about. Kind of just plain. But it's not Sire because it's a UK pressing. And I do believe I have probably purchased probably 3 or 4 different versions, versions of this record. Not versions, but had the Canadian press, had a couple Canadian and American, and they were always noisy. No matter whatever record I would buy, the vinyl somehow was noisy. 1990 wasn't such a good year for making records. And finally, when I got the UK press, it was a lot quieter. It still had a little bit of noise in there, but it was a lot better. So happy to get that. And then now off of Violator, we get this, Depeche Mode Live. It's got Commendation, Personal Jesus, Enjoy the Silence, and Halo. And this is actually a gatefold on bong. And we have in here, we have a inner sleeve, thick one, nothing on the back side. And let's have a look, because it's pretty plain Jane on this side, and pretty well the same thing on the other side. Not much to talk about with that label, but it is a UK press, so it doesn't just say Sire on it. And this has got, like I was saying, it's got quite a few songs on it. It's not just a 12-inch remix. It's actually a live record with some great songs on it. And now we have a 12-inch from Depeche Mode, a nice UK press again. Enjoy the Silence. I bought this in Jacksonville when I was actually at one of my first visits. And again, not much to say about the label, but the record sure sounds nice. And what a great song. And it should say on the back, we have Enjoy the Silence, bass line, Enjoy the Silence, harmonium. That's side one. Side two is Enjoy the Silence, Ricky Tick Tick Mix, and Mesfesto. This is one of the things about these 12 inches. They would put a song on some of these 12 inches that were not on any of their albums. Here we go. Mesfesto is on here. It's the only place you're going to find that song is on this 12 inch. To my knowledge, I could be wrong about that, obviously. And now we have The Policy of Truth. Another really great album off Violator, a song I should say. And on this one they're doing Policy of Truth. On side one is Beatbox. On side two, Policy of Truth, Capital Mix. And then Katie Lied, When Worlds Mix. So you get another song on here again. You get another song from them. And it tells you how to join the Depeche Mode fan club. P.O. Box 1281 London. And again, it's a nice, really nice, high quality, shiny cover on that record. Now we have from the Violator, World in My Eyes, Happiest Girl, Sea of Sin. Again, we get Happiest Girl. This is a fantastic song. You won't find it on any of their albums. And Sea of Sin, another one. Fantastic. And again, this is 1990. Side one has World in My Eyes, Oil Tank Mix. Side two is Happiest Girls, Kiss Me Mix, Sea of Sin, Sensora. All songs are written by M. Al Gore, Martin, Al Gore, published by Grabbing Hands, Sonnet. So let's see if the label's anything. No, it's just a plain orange label on there. But it is a nice UK pressing. Bong. And some great songs on there. And here we go again. This is Personal Jesus. And we have on this record, Personal Jesus, Holier Than Thou Approach. Dangerous. What a fantastic song. You won't get it on any other record. Dangerous is on this. And it's so good. Really dynamic, punchy, hard hitting. Oh, it's so good. And then we got Personal Jesus Acoustic. And this is from 89 Mute Records. And Bong, marketed, distributed. So let's see what the label's like on this record. It's a little bit nicer. Not too much different than the... So that's not too bad. But again, some really good songs on here. And this is why you buy these, because you get a different mix. And I bought this used in Winnipeg at a record store. And you can see it's $4.75, I think. That's what the price was. Because it was a used record. And then I bought this in Winnipeg, 1993. I'd already moved to Florida, and I came up for a visit, and myself and my two cousins, we went up to the big record store. And they had this, this is 93. Well, how many records are they selling, right? They're not selling a lot of records back in those days. I think the label's probably the same. But this is a nice UK press. And this is like the biggest record store that was in Winnipeg at the time. Of course, everybody's buying CDs, the whole thing. But they had this on the front counter. They had this on display, this record. They had about 2 or 3 of them. And I said, that's what I'm going to buy out of my trip to Winnipeg. I'm buying this record. Nice UK press, Depeche Mode. Nice inner sleeve too. Pretty nice thick inner sleeve in here. I'll hold this side up for a bit because there's a lot of pictures on there that you're not going to get anywhere else. So I picked the record off the counter. And I got it, and I'm like, this is what I'm getting. And my cousin's like, no, you don't want to buy a record. What are you buying records for? What's wrong with you? And I'm like, that's probably the best decision I ever made when I bought that and didn't listen to him. And then, this is Depeche Mode, In Your Room. This is the first 12-inch that came off that record. And this is a Sire reprise. So this is obviously going to be on Sire Records. This is a US press again. Sire reprise. And this is In Your Room. In Your Room Extended Zephyr Mix. In Your Room Apex Mix. In Your Room the Jeep Rock Mix. And Higher Love. You get another song on here. You get Higher Love. Adrenaline Mix. Higher Love. Let me look. No. Oh yeah, Higher Love. Higher Love is off the record. So that's not a new song. That's what I was thinking. But it's also, you got a little bit of, you get love, you get the adrenaline mix of Higher Love. So that's why you buy that thing. And then another one, Depeche Mode, I Feel You is off that. And this is a nice gatefold. Some nice pictures in here. And of course this is Bong. Seems like a UK press. A nice textured inner sleeve with I Feel You on it. And then the label, not that big a deal, I Feel You. But what do we have here? I Feel You, Life's Too Short mix. That's what I'm thinking about. Life's Too Short mix. I Feel You, Swamp mix. I Feel You, Renegade Soundwave mix. And the Afghan Surgery mix. I Feel You, Helmet at the Helm mix, remastered by Mark Stent, 93 Mute Records. From the forthcoming album, Songs of Faith and Devotion. So this was actually released before. That's why it's on such a nice big gatefold cover and everything. This was actually a prequel to the album. And again, I bought it used. Here's the sticker inside. $7. he's got Imperial on here because it was a UK press, and I bought it at the record store. Probably the same guy traded both those records in that I bought because he was getting all CDs, right? This is 94. What was it? 93. Yeah, 93. They're trading all their records in. They're getting CDs, and I'm buying this for $7, UK first edition. And then we have Depeche Mode, Walking in My Shoes, from the same album. And we have Walking in My Shoes, extended 12-inch mix, Walking in My Shoes, random carpet mix. That's the one I love. I used to have, back in the day, I had a convertible, back when this record was in the mid-90s. Well, actually, it was a Supra Turbo with a Target top on it. And I'd have that thing. I went down to Sound Advice, which is the big audio store in Jacksonville. I went to Sound Advice and I had them put in like a monster stereo in that thing because the one that was in there was not good. And they put in a really high-end stereo in there, and man, I tell you what, phenomenal sound. And I would put this, I had the CD, I had a lot of the same ones of these records, I had them on CD, and I would play that CD in the car, and I would crank the hell out of it, and the wind blowing through your hair, and the sun is shining, man, it doesn't get any better than that. You're living life in the fast lane, and it is so much fun. And now we have the inner sleeve. We'll show you that. Nothing on the back. And then the album label, nothing to see there. But what's on the inside here, Ron? Nothing to see here. It's R-rated material in there. Yeah, I'm not showing that. There's no point to it. I have my grandkids and stuff. They watch these videos, so I'm not going to put stuff like that on. We don't need to see it, right? Very good. But what a great record this is. Fantastic. Got one of my favorite songs on it. And then we have Walking in My Shoes. Another UK press. Grungy Gonads mix. Walking in My Shoes 7-inch mix. My Joy 7-inch mix. My Joy slow slide mix from 93. My Joy. Now that one, yeah, that's not a song, but it is so fantastic. My Joy, what a great song, and you don't get it except on this record. And here we go again. $7 at the used record store for this record. It's a UK pressing on that nondescript label again. But lots, beautiful record, UK press, $7. Who's not buying that, right? And then here's Ultra. There's a lot of folks, they think Ultra is one of the weaker records. And I didn't buy it when it came out right away. We had just got remarried and starting a new life and doing a bunch of stuff. Wasn't buying records so much, but then I found out about that they had released this and I purchased it. And for some reason, I just keep going back to this record all the time. And this is a UK pressing. Show the label. I guess it's just a black label. And then on the other side, they did have it a little different. Just an A on there. That's on your UK pressing. US would have been just Sire or whatever on there. But it's a nice, now this is a nice 180 gram record that we've got. Now we're starting with the 180 gram. It is, of course, a gatefold press. And they have a nice, really thick inner sleeve for it. But I still got the shrink on it. I don't know why. It's just one of them things. But I have probably listened to this record as much as any other Depeche Mode record. I don't know. I just keep having it in heavy rotation. And then because I love it so much, I bought the box set of Ultra And I have all the 12 inches right there. I don't think we have to, well, we can do a quick pull. We won't get into all the details on them, but we'll just do a quick look at them. What do we got in here? We got Barrel of a Gun on a gatefold. There we go. We got Barrel of a Gun, different mixes of Barrel and the Gun again. And then we have Home of the Jedi Knight mix. Home of the, Home. That's the name of the song. Home, Jedi Knights remix. And then we have Home, Air Around the Gulf remix. So that's Home. And then It's No Good remix, 12 inch. And then actually they have an insert here that tells you what they have. They have Barrel of Gun, It's No Good, Home, Useless. And here's Useless. That's pretty thick. What's in here? It's like a 180 gram record. Yeah, I guess these are all 180 gram records in here. Home. And It's No Good. And Useless again. So you get all those 12 inches in that box. And this was on a pretty good deal. And they did release, I think, almost these box sets for almost all of their records. And this one, because it's not as popular as some of the other ones, was when I was looking at it, it was still available, and it was pretty good, pretty reasonable, probably about half price of what it was when it came out. So I picked it up because it was a pretty good deal. But if you try to buy Violator, this box of Violator, yeah, they're like $400 now. It's ridiculous. Who's going to buy that? Well, not me, that's for sure. So that's the Ultra box. And then we have a record called Exciter. And this one is the Rhino reissue. Rhino reissued a bunch of their records. I bought a few of them. And like I did have the Rhino remix. Because, you know, back in those days, I was loving those Rhino reissues. They were so good. But Violator, it wasn't as good as the UK press. But I did buy this. This record does sound phenomenal. It's on a double record, beautiful color, and it's they put the record on 2 albums. Just the label looks just like this. But I really like this record. I did have the CD, and I hadn't heard much Depeche Mode for a while. And when this came out, I had the CD in my car, and I played it all the time. And when you play a record all the time, you get to love it. This is kind of how it works, right? And here's one of the 12 inches off that record. This is Depeche Mode Dream On, Bushwhacker Tough Guy mix, the Dave Clark 5 remix, and the Bushwhacker Blunt mix. Then we have Playing the Angel from Depeche Mode. Again, this is a double LP, but now this is a UK pressing. So I will take one of the records out to see, because again, it's a double record, double LP on 180 gram vinyl. Pretty nondescript label. Another really good record, got a lot of good songs off of it. And then they have, this record came out, Depeche Mode Delta Machine. Again, I have the UK double LP on mute. And I used to have a couple of these, but this is Soothe My Soul, a 12 inch off of that. And then the newest one that they put out, Depeche Mode, Memento Mori is what it's called. You can't really see it, doesn't say, but that's what the name of the record is. And this is a trifold record. Move it around so I can open it up. Here's the first part, the gatefold part. And then it opens up in the middle again to reveal this. And this is a US press with not much of a descript on the, but yeah, this is a, look at how thick that is. And this record is actually bigger. The outside dimension is actually bigger than a regular record. Right? If you put the regular, you can't really see that because there's no contrast. But it's bigger. The regular inner sleeve, it won't fit on here. You have to get a different kind of inner sleeve. But this is a really nice record. This is a US Columbia from 2023. Their new record, and it is good. They did a good job on that record. And then I bought this. This is Depeche Mode Pro A5192. I bought this in California at Rockaway Records. And this is what you would call a promo. That's why it says Pro on it. This was for record stations. And it is a domestic pressing on Sire. But it's like a best of Depeche Mode. And if I could see the year on here, but it's early 90s, probably 92 or something. That's when I was there. So this was a record station to introduce people to Depeche Mode, to get them to play more Depeche Mode on the radio. Selections from commercially available limited edition box set 1 and 2. So that's from box sets 1 and 2. And then a record, Tim from the University of Vinyl, my last Steely Dan video, you know he loves Steely Dan so much. He said, Ron, what you need to do, you need to get that record, Kama Kinrad. It's this record right here. And in this box, they also have Cheap Christmas, Donald Fagen Complete, 10 extras, this record right here. And they have, of course, the Nightfly, and they have Morph the Cat, and they have Sunken Condos. And my son bought me this for Christmas. And I said, thanks, Daniel, but you know what? I've already got all those records, except for that Kama Kinrad, which I don't have, which I did buy the CD when it came out. And I didn't get it. We didn't mesh. But I need to listen to it again, because Tim said, Ron, you need to get that Kama Kinrad. And I said, well, you know what? I kind of got it. It's still sealed, but I kind of got it. So I'm going to have a talk with old Daniel when he gets home and say, Dad, when I told you that I really got all those records, I really don't need that record. And I said, you know what? Maybe you should put it in your collection. It'd be good for you. And he was kind of disappointed when I told that to him. You buy your dad something really nice to think he's going to like it, and then he kind of says, hey, well, already got that stuff. So I'm going to try to make him happy and say, you know what, Daniel? I'm going to gladly accept that record because I was wrong. And I'm going to owe you a present for that. That's for sure. So that's going to conclude the video for today. If you watch it all the way to the end, that's really good. Some of these videos can get long when you're talking about 100 records you want to talk about. And so when you leave the video now, you're going to see there's an ability to hype the video. And you click on the comments, you'll see, hey, do you want to hype it? Well, why not? It's free. Right? That's what people say. It's free. And you know what else is free? And it helps old Rockin' Ronnie out. You hit the old like button on the way out and let me know what you think of Depeche Mode in the comments. And bye for now.